Yes, I know I said at the end of the last video that the next one would be special. Well, the special video has been postponed for a bit, but it's definitely in the works. In the meantime, I've been building a new world alongside Keisha's called the Bay, affectionately nicknamed the Bayverse and Bayshaws by my Discord. There are some fascinating quirks in this new world that I'd like to share with you, but first, a basic explanation. The Bay centers around a cluster of tribes just coming out of the Neolithic and into the Bronze Age, so earlier than Keisha's. These tribes are all grouped around, well, a bay, and they're surrounded by a large, harsh desert that cuts them off from the rest of the world by land. You may be thinking, well, if they live around a bay, can't they just sail off into the ocean, hang a left at the coast, and find civilization? It would be that easy if it wasn't for a huge coral reef that wrecks every ship that tries to get past it. So, before I explain the quirks of this world, I'll go through a couple of the more influential tribes with this map. I haven't named all the tribes yet, and I'm nowhere close to that. Basically, if I need to name it, then I do. Otherwise, I leave it alone until that time comes. Anyway, let's run through some of these tribes. First, we'll hit the Thalians, the very first tribe I created here. They have a nice language that I'd like to showcase in a future video, but for now I'll just leave you with some Thalian text. Anyway, the Thalians are a fairly friendly people group, notable for cities such as Filovia and Sulich. As for notable leaders and culture heroes, the only one I've created so far is named Pachamon, the founder of the Confederation of the Bay. We'll get to that in a moment. Second, the Skovish. The Skovish have a rough start, to put it lightly. That'll be explored in a future episode, when I take you through the first short story I wrote for the Bay. The Skovish have cities such as Amaj and Farasot, are notable for their leader Bahaj, and speak a language with distinction between modal and creaky voice vowels. The third and indisputably one of the most influential tribes is that of the Quackputs, or, in their language, give me a second here. I apologize for summoning Cthulhu. Anyway, the Quackputs are notable for their impenetrable territory and impenetrable language. They are a belligerent people who kick off both the Bronze Age and the Kudesh Age. More on that later in the video. They also make 4 attempts at establishing an empire, and have an underworld that is very hard to get into. One of the major plot arcs for the Bay heavily involves the Quackputs, and this is where we get back into the Confederation of the Bay. When the Quackputs attempt to establish the Third Quackputs Empire, the other tribes, particularly the Thalians, have gotten really sick of it by this point. So to put a stop to it, Thalia founds the Confederation of the Bay, a Delian League analog. The Confederation beats back the Quackputs and subdues them, but eventually becomes corrupt itself, just like the Delian League. The Quackputs then take it upon themselves to destroy the Confederation, and many of the tribes willingly join the Fourth Quackputs Empire before it all hits the fan. Anyway, these 2 tribes down here are inhabited by the Umori and the Metingi, 2 related peoples inspired by the Japanese. North of them is the territory of the Urtmaj, a Mongolian-inspired tribe, and beyond that there isn't really anything else yet besides the tribe of Epsi, which I'm writing a story about right now. So, now we can take a quick look at the quirks of this world. First and foremost is the fact that the Bay folk, those who live around the Bay, live for an average of 200 years each. This segues into my next point, that this world is an opportunity for me to try my hand at speculative evolution. I've never done it before, and I've spent multiple days binge-watching and binge-rewatching Biblaridian's Alien Biospheres series in an effort to understand it. So, hopefully, I can make a video or 2 on speculative evolution, as it regards to the Bay, as well. Secondly, most of the tribes have their own unique religions, but there are some common threads among them. I'll get it out of the way now. There is one true god in this world, and he is the Thalian god Thamuk, but he is not the same god as he is presented as in the various myths about him, which most Thalians hold to be fact. Going with this, most of these religions are monotheistic, or at least monolatristic. As well as this, some of them have animal spirits, such as the horse for a messenger figure. But the one animal spirit present in basically every faith is the cow, filling the role of the psychopomp. The cow has this association with death, or rather eluding death, because it was the largest land animal to survive the encroaching of the engulfing desert. Yeah, they have horses too, but they're a smaller breed, leaving cows the dominant, foremost livestock animal. Thus, they eluded death where no other animal their size could. Finally, I have added a new material to this world, which I've called Kudesh. It's a very strong, very commonly found black metal. The only reason bronze came first is because Kudesh has a higher melting point, so it was less accessible. But it's superior to bronze, And, of course, the most warmongering tribe of all of them discovered both bronze and Kudish first, and used them to try to establish empires. So yeah, there's a short intro to my new world. I'm excited to share these next stories with you all, and hopefully that special video will be out soon, where some of the things I talked about here will be expounded upon. Remember, feedback and comments are always appreciated. And on that note, I'll see you all in the next one.